happened. So just purely on intuition, in February 1991, I get on a plane, I go to Peru. Amazing things happened over a period of 3 weeks, but it all culminated when I was being taken around by this Peruvian guide, and he books us into this hotel at a place called Puno, which is near Lake Titicaca, the highest navigable lake in the world, they say. And this hotel is called the Siustani, which is named after an Inca ruin about an hour and a half away, and there's pictures of this thing all over the hotel. So every time I looked at the picture, I felt, I want to go there, I want to go there, I want to go there. So I hire this tourist bus and driver and this tourist guide, and we go off to Siustani. And it was a beautiful place in the middle of nowhere. A big hill with all the ruins on the top and a lagoon on 3 sides, and there was nobody there apart from 2 kids and a llama for pictures, and there were no tourists. So I go around this ruin for about an hour, and it was very nice, and it's a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky, piercing hot sun. But when I went back to the bus to go home, I was disappointed because the power of go there, go there, go there was not matched by my experience. So I get in the bus and I'm looking out the window, and about 3 minutes down the road, going back to Puno. And I'm looking out the window and I see this mound, this big mound to my right. And as I looked at it, all I could hear in my head was, come to me, come to me, come to me. I'm thinking, you know, I present the sport, mate. This mound's talking to me. This is what's happening to me. Anyway, I said to the guy, could you stop the bus? I want to go up that mound. So I went up the mound thinking I'd be a few minutes. I was about an hour, maybe more, because of what happened. Time just became irrelevant. I climbed this mound, and when I got to the top, I couldn't see it from the road. There was this circle of standing stones, like a mini Stonehenge, about waist high the stones were. And I walk into the center of this mound, this circle on the mound. And I'm looking back to Siustani, just across the way. And as I got to the center, the feet business started, like in the news shop, only with serious interest this time. And my feet started to burn and being pulled to the ground. Then I felt like a drill going in the top of my head, through my body into the ground.
That would have been enough for me. I'd have been off.
Yeah, well, I couldn't because my feet wouldn't move. And then I heard 2 things go through my mind very powerfully and loudly. One, they'll be talking about this 100 years from now. What? And secondly, it will be over when you feel the rain. Now, it's a piercing hot, cloudless Peruvian sky. Then, as this energy builds up, my arms go out at 45 degrees like that, and I haven't made any decision to do it. And actually, I leave my arms like that, they're already starting to ache. Well, my arms were like that for the best part of an hour, right? Didn't feel it, but afterwards, agony, you know. So what happened over this period of time is, you know, when you're driving a car and you can't remember the last 2 miles because your subconscious has been driving the car. Well, I kept going in and out of conscious awareness like that. And my body's starting to shake because this energy comes through me. And I then noticed in one of these come back to consciousness times that there was a dark grey mist over the distant mountains. Or a light grey mist to start with, and it got darker. And it was very clear that it had started to rain over the distant mountains. And what I then experienced was this, I mean, you couldn't make it up really. I mean, if you did it in a fantasy movie, you'd say, oh, that's far-fetched. But this storm came out of these mountains and came towards me. You know, weathermen talk about a weather front. Well, it was a straight line, the clouds coming across. It was like a curtains coming across the sky. And the sun was covered, the sun went in, and then I was literally standing there, shaking with this energy, and I was seeing stair rod rain move towards me. And eventually it hit me. And when it hit me, this energy coming through me stopped. And I staggered forward. My legs were like jelly, and my arms were agony. And from that moment, my life was transformed.
It's like a Kundalini experience.
Kind of, but I don't completely understand what happened, but what I would describe it as this, because what followed is I came back to England. Truth Vibrations came out. I went on prime time talk show television with a guy called Terry Wogan, for people around the world that don't come from the UK. And on prime time television, faced mass ridicule from the audience and stuff for what I was talking about. And what happened in that period of the Wogan show, I can describe like this. Once that experience in Peru had happened, my mind became filled with concepts, understandings, information. But it was all like swirling around and didn't make sense. But it was filling my mind. And it was like the waters had burst. The eggshell had burst. And suddenly information was pouring in. And you know when you press a computer keys too many times, right? And it can't process that information. It freezes. Yeah. I can't process this. I'm freezing. Thank you. Well, that's what basically happened to me for about 3 months.
In hindsight, do you think you took the decision to do the Wogan show too early?
No, it was perfect. It's all perfect. Because to do what I've done since needs you to be in a state where you have cleansed yourself, where you were free of the fear of what other people think, because you're talking about things that are way out, that for most people who are imprisoned by the norms they've been programmed to believe in through their lives, anything outside that norm is crazy or dangerous. Well, I was going to go massively out of that norm, even more so in years to come, and I was obviously going to be seen in those terms. If I cared about what people thought of me, if I was going to be affected by fear of what other people think to the point where I was not going to talk about it, then I wouldn't be any good at doing what I'm doing. So that had to be cleansed. And so I look back at that whole mass ridicule that followed the Wogan show and the newspaper stuff with not quite affection, but I know it was vital. Because
part of a learning curve, perhaps. Huh?
It freed me, Ross, of the prison, the biggest prison that most people live in, which is the fear of what other people think. Once you are in fear of what other people think, someone else is living your life, someone else is dictating your reality, someone else is putting invisible walls around your free expression and free thought. Well, you know, this is what I think and this is what I like to say, but what will my mother think? Oh, what about the blokes at work and all this stuff? Well, I was cleared of that by mass ridicule, where I couldn't walk down a street without being laughed at. Couldn't go in a bar. There was uproar.
That was the shell suit that did that, you know?
Yeah, well, whatever it was.
Let's take a break at that point, because I want to move us forward now to the talk that you did at Brixton.
Right.
So we've got a picture now of leading up to that, and then we'll sort of work backwards, because you did this talk to thousands of people at Brixton Academy. The actual talk itself was 7 hours. I don't know how you did it, but let's have a little look at a clip of that first to give people an idea. Just watch a few minutes of this and then we'll talk to David about it. This was Brixton Academy.
As Voltaire said, so long as the people do not care to exercise their freedom, those who wish to tyrannize will do so. For tyrants are active and ardent and will devote themselves in the name of any number of gods, religious or otherwise, to put shackles upon sleeping men. And of course, first, you must have sleeping men and women, and that's what the whole deal has been about. You are getting sleepy, 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 sleepy. Good evening. Now tonight's news. These people are hypnotists, don't realize it. They're programming a reality by repetition of a version of reality that they pound out on their mainstream news all the time. We see things not as they are, but as we are. The conspiracy in a line. The idea is to get us to think that we are the person we see reflected in the mirror. No, that's the vehicle we're using to experience this reality. This is who we are. Division is what they want. A sense of oneness is what they don't want. We are consciousness, we are energy, we are all one consciousness. So, where are we? Where are we? We are in our own minds, basically. We are in our own heads, symbolically. We are decoding reality in our own minds. It's not out there, it's in here. We are taking frequency fields and vibrational fields, and we are, through the brain, turning them into a holographic reality that does not exist out there. Holograms appear to exist in space, but they don't. Holograms you buy in the shops, This hologram doesn't have space either.